It's Friday, which means we go game by game, matchup by matchup, and look for those jabronis who could accidentally score us some fantasy points. And this helps fantasy gamers who are hurting setting their lineups, who are facing injuries in the future bye weeks. On top of that, could help you for daily fantasy football, deeper leagues, dynasty leagues. We just look at the matchups and trying to find that guy who's unexpectedly going to score fantasy points. But before we dig in today, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're using these videos to help you set your lineups. We go deep on the waiver wire every day throughout the week. And then on top of that, we deep dive these players so you can make your decisions. Click that button. Stop missing out. But we're going to start off with Roschon Johnson versus the Rams. He got some workload last week. Scored 10 fantasy points, and it sounds like they're going to give him more workload. We can't peg him to that. We can't guarantee that, but he could surprise us this week. Maybe catch a few more balls, maybe get some rushing attempts, maybe get some goal line looks. Maybe he can surprise us this week with the added workload. He's a player to look at off the waiver wire if he's there. If you're hurting at running back, he's not a must start. Maybe he can sneak some fantasy points, though. We're looking at the Vikings game, and we're going to be going with Jalen Nailor 3 weeks in a row in this video, because why not? 4 targets in back-to-back games. That being said, we might get some more workload this week. We're going up against the Packers. We got a hard matchup here that could go either way. He's getting targets even though Justin Jefferson's there to suck them all up. I think volume's going to be there for him, especially with Tyjae Hawkinson out and Jordan Addison out as well. Josh Downs is back, and he was getting volume last week. It just did not equate to fantasy production. He's going to get a good target share. Targets are going to go his way. It's going to be off and on. He's a very talented wide receiver. This game script might not be for him, but it's 40 over under. Both teams can be weird in certain game scripts, and anything can happen when you're getting about 5 targets a game flowing your way. Braelon Allen, because it's always Braelon Allen. You're never going to expect him to hit, but when it does, it's miraculous, and it's against the Denver Broncos here. The Jets could be up in this matchup. They're using both running backs. He's getting volume and opportunity. Definitely could see him get some goal line looks. He's also being used more in the passing game than projected. Braelon Allen could sneak up on you this week. And we're looking at Yoshi, because you're not predicting Yoshi every week going forward, because Gesicki's getting more work, and then also T. Higgins is back. But Yoshi has been hot, scoring 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. We're going up against the Panthers. This could be a fire game script for him. He could be getting opportunity. He could be getting more opportunity now, even with Higgins back, because now he's going against softer coverage. And that being said, could always be that sneaky start, especially when he's getting those deep targets. Cam Akers, everyone's leaving him for dead because he did not score many fantasy points last week. But the thing about that, the game script was horrible. The Texans were playing from behind. CJ Stroud threw some picks, and they had to play behind against Minnesota. Sam Darnold routed the Texans. The Texans were getting smashed in this game. It was not a great game script for him to get volume, but if they can get up on the Jaguars, this could be a trendy start for you. Now we're looking at Eagles and Bucks, and Jahan Dotson is sneaky as can be, because you're not expecting him to do anything because he hasn't done anything. He's new to this team, so he's just now getting accustomed to the system, but the snaps are increasing by the week. The targets are increasing by the week. Both starting wide receivers are out. A lot of people are going to start him anyways, but if the volume's there, and Tampa Bay could push the volume here with their offense, we could see Jahan Dotson get a few extra targets. Jamaal Williams, because Alvin Kamara was banged up going into this week. He missed Wednesday's practice, and if they get up on the Falcons, Williams might see some extra looks, maybe some extra looks around the goal line. Could be a sneaky get for you in fantasy this week. Jalen Polk, because he gets those deep targets. He's explosive. This is going to be a weird game script because Niners are good on defense. I'm not expecting him to rack up targets. I'm not expecting anything out of him. This is a sneaky start video. That being said, he could surprise you with a couple deep targets downfield, and that's why he's in the sneaky start video. Gregg Dortch, because he gets volume underneath. This is a matchup where the ball should be flowing. We got a 50 over under, so pass attempts got to go somewhere. Last week, it was a Michael Wilson game. I could definitely see Gregg Dortch get the targets. He saw 6 targets last week, but didn't equate to fantasy production. could happen this week like it did in week 1 if things get weird. We're looking at McConkey against the Chiefs because the Chiefs have a lockdown defense, and what teams have been doing against the Chiefs is trying to get the ball out quickly and try to get it into the flat, into the slot. McConkey lives in that area, and he could be getting some targets here. They try to do that against Pittsburgh and a similar threat against that defense who gives up points to slot. But we did not rack up fantasy points, but we did rack up those targets. Could see the same thing this week against the Chiefs, Browns, and Raiders. You're not really looking to start anybody from this game, but if you're looking for a sneaky player, Elijah Moore has been getting a lot of targets, a lot of routes, a lot of snaps. That being said, he could be a player that surprises you because he's on the field doing something, so the ball could go his way a few times. Now you're looking at Bills and Ravens. Rashod Bateman has been getting some deep shots this season. He scored a touchdown last week. He's been looking solid on the tape, just the volume's not going his way, but there is going to be some games where he gets his opportunity, so he could sneak up on you like he did last week. Now we're looking at Titans and Dolphins. If Titans get up on the Dolphins, and Tyjae Spears might get some extra opportunities, that's something you may want to look at if you're hurting at running back and you need to put in a sneaky option. And now we're looking at Seahawks versus the Lions. You're starting everybody from this game pretty much. There's nobody really sneaky but Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. In a matchup like this against a good defense that's in game scripts that could push it, could allow for some targets to go underneath the Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He could be a sneaky option this week. And today, we are looking at the sneaky starts. Those guys, those jabronis, who could surprise us this week for fantasy football. We're not expecting these players to score fantasy points, but we are expecting a few of these guys to surprise us with production. And you got a lot of hard start sits going on right now, and you got to start somebody you don't want to start. Who's that player you're looking at in your lineup right now that you're like, man, I don't want to put that guy in my lineup. I don't want to do that right now. But you have to. That's why that video is here. That's why we do this video, so we can give you some ideas. Some guys off waivers, some guys at the end of your bench that you can just pick up, pluck into your lineup that might hit. Maybe not, but might hit. We're trying to help you with those decisions by looking at these matchups, by looking at those players who could surprise us, who could sneak up on us when we look at the fantasy totals at the end of the week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.